My friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're a long-time follower, thank you. It's good to see you again. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I've got a ton of old videos out there that can help you. So if you like the way that I do things and teach, you can watch my old YouTube videos, or the next time I open up my Discord, please feel free to join that as well. Like I always say in every video, nothing I'm giving you is financial advice. It's to make you a better trader so you can make great decisions for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. So in today's video, I want to talk about a Tesla trade. I posted this trade on Twitter. I took profits at 50% and then 103% right at the end of the day. But it was a great intraday setup. So I just kind of wanted to walk everybody through so that way hopefully it helps you, because these type of setups happen all the time. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to help teach you. That's what I'm all about, is the educational aspect of things. So that way you can learn to fish for yourself, right? And these setups happen all the time across all different charts, and knowing how to set and execute them, and knowing where is my trade, correct, if you will, where is my thesis valid and where is my thesis not valid, when do I need to get out, it's just crucial. So I want to walk you through what I did today with Tesla, where, like I said, I posted it on Twitter, made right around $15,000 with just this trade. So starting out, if you're watching this in the video, if you're watching this video, today is October the 9th of 2023. So we had, going into today's Monday, we had the awful attacks that happened in Israel this past weekend. And so the market gapped down overnight. So up here, what you're seeing up here is the highs from this previous Friday. So Tesla gapped down into this kind of 255 range. I told my Discord in the video, if Tesla opens up around that 255 range, 254, I'm going to be looking at getting calls. And why? Well, let's build the chart here a little bit. So to do that, we'll need to zoom out here just a little bit. And I've got all these things hidden on the side here, and I'll probably get them going in a bad order, but we'll figure it out. So no, don't want that. So the first things first, you always need to know what my supply and demand zones are going to be. So demand is going to be, where can I expect buyers show up? Supply is going to be, where do I expect sellers to show up? So if we zoom out here on Tesla, I'm going to go to the 1 hour chart. We have some clearly defined supply and demand areas that myself and the team have been watching. So I create my supply and demand typically on the hourly chart, but I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it. You got to come up with a system that works for you. So clearly right here, though, you can see on Tesla that 260 is a point of contention. So back over here in August, clearly sellers stepped in. Then there were buyers stepping in, acted as support. Then it acted as resistance right here. Made a lot of money on this push down. Now we're coming up, and both on Friday and Thursday and Friday of last week, 260 once again was a strong supply or resistance. And so once again, we saw that at the end of the day on Monday. Now, where was some support hanging out at? Well, on support, we've got in between my demand. So down here, I've got 242 to 244 marked off as demand. Once again, you can clearly see why. But in between, there's always those in between levels, right? And clearly on this 254.10, so once again, these are hourly candles. You've got clear areas where this 254.10 showed as support. Then it broke down. When it came back up and tested, initially rejected off, found demand in that 242 to 244 area, and then once again came back up, tested that 254.10, pushed down. Then when you broke above, look back over here on Friday. So when Tesla gapped down on Friday, because they did those surprise price cuts overnight, Tesla gapped down, and once again, hourly candles here. So where these hourly candles are opening and closing is still right around here at this 254.10. So same thing, road calls on the way up here. Then we get the Friday close, we get the gap down. But notice it gapped down right back to that same area of 254.10. So now let's go back into the micro picture of things. So now I'm going to go back to the 5-minute chart where we started. So Tesla gaps down, kind of trades around in here. Then you can see was showing support at that 254.10, but I did not enter calls just yet. Another area of confluence that we are going to have is going to be, once again, let me zoom out here real quick. So I wanted to see how Tesla was going to react to the pennant that it's been in as well. So when I teach TA, what I do is I say, there's no, well, this trend line is what I take, or this supply zone is what I take. It's all about taking all the little pieces of the puzzle. Where's my trend line? Where's my supply? Where's my demand? What is, where's my horizontal resistance? Where's my trend lines going to be? It's all about taking all the little individual pieces and putting them together to help build the puzzle, right? I say every little piece of your technical analysis is a little piece of the puzzle. Once I can get enough pieces of the puzzle connected together, then I can start seeing the overall picture. And once I start seeing the overall picture better, then I can decide, is this worth a trade or is this not worth the trade? So same thing, posted in my Discord. Tesla was closing right at this top line trend line that we had here on Friday. And you can see trend lines, typically you consider them valid once you have 3 touch points. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now today 7 and 8. On our bottom trend, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and once again, these all happened today. So we got a lot of touch points. So obviously a lot of activity going on in these areas. So now we'll go back to the 15 minutes. You can see even in here, lots of touch points reacting. So we got trend lines, we got supply and demand, we got a horizontal resistance of that 254.10 resistance and support. Another thing that I always teach is how you know it's clearly an area of value is, has it acted as support and has it acted as resistance? Those are clear key areas of where buyers and sellers are going to be meeting each other. Now, this push down right here was the clear sign of like, hey, maybe bears are going to be what's in charge. Once again, the market opened up, pushed up a little bit, then really started to come back down. So I didn't enter calls here just yet because I wanted to see how are we going to react to the trend line, potentially also to how are we going to react to the Friday lows. I waited because I don't like typically trading that open volatility. IV's going to be spiking. You have this large gap down. IV's going to be spiking all over the place. Not a great time to be entering contracts, in my personal opinion. But as always, you do your thing, trade your plan. But then, as Tesla opened, we had this falling wedge starting to take shape. So we had a falling wedge getting created into lots of areas of confluence of our resistance at the 254.10 plus our upper trend line. Now, if we lost the lows from back over here on Friday, then you would start anticipating, okay, we're probably going to need to come back down to that 242, 244. However, the overall market was still looking relatively strong and stable. And this is the classic type of fake out move that you get before the actual move. There's you can, whether it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, however you want to look at it, there's lots of people who are going to start piling into puts when you just get a break of this trend line. So you acted as, oh, we're getting kicked off at the 254. Oh, we're losing the trend line. It's time to get into puts. But if you look down here, the volume is not really supporting a harsh sell-off. Plus, which I'm not going to get into in this video, you got to put pieces of the puzzle together as far as what's VIX looking like, what's the dollar looking like, what are bonds looking like, what's SPY looking like, what's QQQ. Like I said, those are all little pieces of that puzzle. But for just looking at Tesla's chart, the market's always going to be looking to trap people. I always teach, if I'm putting my market maker, hat brain on, it's always a, how can I trap these people, right? This is a clear sign. You've got war going on. Things are scary. You've got bonds that have been, scorching hot. You got inflation that people are worried about. So this is a great time to be like, hey, we're going to get into some puts right here. However, the formation and the volume is telling you that this is a consolidation / corrective move, and you're not even making lower lows from Friday. So then, once we got this strong push down here, then the very next candle is a very low spread candle with very little volume to go in it. Then you've got a nice big bullish candle where pretty much right where it opens to where it closes pretty much goes straight up the entire time. So this is going to be a good looking pivot point right here. And you got your trend line confluence, but this is where I was like, okay, I'm going to enter calls here. I think we're in a falling wedge. The volume is getting sucked out of this deal. However, where my stop was going to be is I told my team, if I start seeing hard rejections right here at this 254.10, then I am going to be exiting out of this position. I entered 265 calls for this Friday. They were $1.48 a contract. If you don't know what that means, you need to do more research before you even think about trading, okay? So I entered 265 calls for this Friday because I knew that if we were able to capture 254.10 and this was a bear trap and the market pushed up strong and fast, that we would at least be testing 260. And obviously, if I'm entering the calls at around 252, if I push up anywhere near 260 towards my supply zone, I would make a whole lot of money on this deal. So if we get in here, and you can see, here's where the cool part happens, right? So as soon as we push up here, so volume is creeping up here, but then right off of almost 254.10, you can see a clear rejection. Plus, this is that trend line, okay? So we have the falling wedge. Here's that trend line that I showed you from back over in like the August lows, I believe. And here's that 254.10. So a shooting star candle, gravestone doji, and increase the volume. So this is where I was like, okay, I'm going to be looking at, a stop loss here at this point in time. However, what I want to see is typically you want to see that retest of the breakout. So then the very next candle, also a rejection, but look at the volume, 0 volume with it. Then we get a strong push down at the start of the candle, retest that top of the wedge, that breakout, filling this fair value gap that was created over here on the breakout, and then you start to get a push back up and the volume increases. Then the next candle, same thing. So anytime, even though these are low spread candles, there's not a lot of body there, that wick at the bottom is telling you that all this buying pressure is coming, that the wick is going to be, it got pushed down, but then bears weren't successful and the bulls pushed it right back up, okay? That's what these candles are telling you. Another great look is anytime you're consolidating, right underneath it, you got all these long wicks at the bottom. Yes, there are some wicks at the top, which is to be expected, but those buyers are really stepping in here more than the sellers are able to push it down. And then if you get over here into your 921 EMAs, that we call it riding the 9, that you can see here, none of these candles are closing below that 9 EMA. Then we get the push above that 254.10 level and back into the trend line. But what I didn't like here is I didn't like that there wasn't much volume. Then same thing, we get the retest, not a lot of volume, market's still looking a little shaky, but then you get the move, right? Pretty much that straight up move, a lot of volume on this candle, and then you just start riding the trend line. And once again, that 9 EMA, you're continuing to ride that 9 EMA. Now that we've got this, we're getting over, so this resistance here is obviously kind of over this opening range, if you will. So then if you look at it from a standpoint of anytime you can clear, that high of the day, so this would be like an intraday look. This would be where you're looking at supply. Then you came here, you didn't quite get up there to test it. You really got up here and tested these highs right here, and then it acted as resistance. You came down, you collected, and then you started pushing. And then when you started pushing here, I believe this is when they said, hey, we're going to start talking about peace or whatever. So as far as I'm concerned, news just justifies the move. But all these moves up here through this gap, you can see the volume was pouring in. And these are all high quality moves. And then as you consolidated right here, it was just chilling because this consolidation right here, once again, volume sucks out while you're consolidating, and then the volume comes back in as you're moving. So I took profits at my 260 target because once again, I expected this to act as supply. I always tell my team, treat things as support till they're no longer support. Just like you treat things as resistance until they're no longer resistance. So until we get on top of this 260 over here, excuse me, until we get on top of this 261 in here. So what I'm going to be looking for to remain bullish on Tesla is I want to break above. I like a really strong move potentially coming up here and filling this fair value gap all the way up to about 266, then you'll probably get a retest, and then you want to see support, and then you want to see a continued move. Also, Tesla has earnings coming up next week. So, but I hope this video was helpful to you. This is what I look for, whether it be a macro, a micro time frame. Like I'm in a bunch of Microsoft and Apple leaps right now because macro-wise, I think it looks good. There's lots of great setups in the market. So it doesn't matter if you want to be a day trader. It doesn't matter if you want to be, I want to scalp trades. It really doesn't matter what you want to be. What you need to be is educated if you want to be in the market and you want to win on a consistent basis. Not win every day. I still have losing trades. You either follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Which if you haven't done so, Colin_Gladman is where you can follow me on there. Doesn't matter, what you're doing. If you want to be successful, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the charting. So that way you can, because these setups happen all the time, and you need to be able to just, see them before it's too late. It's great looking at this in hindsight. But like I said, the reality is I entered these 265 calls. It was on this candle right here. So I didn't tick the very bottom, but pretty close to it. And like I said, I was going to have a stop if we couldn't recover that 254.10. Chopped. Boom. It's a great trade. Okay. And I do want to be clear. Sometimes you're going to have great setups and they don't validate, right? So if I would have come up here and would have chopped at this 254.10 and then caught a rejection, then I would have gotten out of the calls, probably switched to puts at that point in time to come back down here and test this 244 area. But overall, listen, hope this is helpful to you. Tesla looks good. Obviously want to avoid this kind of head and shoulder look here, which I think that it will. I think it's going to keep on going, but trade your plan. There's two sides of every single trade. I like calls. Maybe you like puts. Maybe you like shorting it. Maybe I like buying shares. Whatever the case may be, that's what makes the market work, is people having different opinions on a stock. Much love. I'll try to start getting these out a little bit more frequent and some overall market updates. But like I said, at the end of the day, I just hope it's helpful to you. I hope you make great trades for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. Much love, my friends. I'll see you in the next video.